on the third day of August 2023 at 4:02 p.m. The board would like to stand and do for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'll now do a roll call of members. Bierstead, Bjork,
Here.
Carroll,
Here.
Downing,
Here.
Morset,
Here.
Miller, Odine,
Here.
Toland, White. Here. We will be in session for 2 hours this evening. This was a maintenance year. That means a review of all updates for River Falls properties were reviewed for changes by our assessor accurate appraisal. Notice of this meeting was posted at City Hall, the Police Department, and at the River Falls Public Library. It was placed on our official website of the city, as well as published in the Pierce County Journal. The affidavit of publication was included in the Board of Review packet sent to each member, which was included with the agenda and hearing materials that is also available on our website. We will now elect a chairperson and vice chairperson. I would entertain a motion for the chairperson.
I nominate Mr. Morset.
Second.
Do we have any other nominations? Okay, I'll close the nominations. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries unanimously.
Okay, I'll proceed and entertain a motion for vice chair.
Mr. Chair, I nominate Mr. Bjork.
Second.
Okay, we have a first and a second, Odine and Carol. Any other nominations? All right, we'll close nominations and vote. All in favor of Mr. Bjork as vice chair?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Let's see, I will state for the record, board member Amy White and Sean Downing have met the mandatory training requirement by state statute 70.45 (4) for board of review members. So we got that taken care of. Number 5. Number 6, the city of River Falls has confidentiality ordinance 2.48.040, which is provided to each board member in the board review packet for review. Okay, everybody got that? All right. The assessor provided a written summary of their annual assessment report, which is included in the packet. Does anyone have any questions for the assessor regarding this report at this time? Anyone at all?
Do you have any notable changes for the 2023 year that you would like to draw attention to the board?
There we go. At this point in time, not much. The construction that we've seen here is pretty typical of what we've seen in other communities also. Nothing substantial has really stuck out that I would feel would be of large significance.
All right, thank you.
Anyone else? All right. The assessor provided Clerk White a preliminary electronic copy of the assessment roll for the review in July prior to open book. A hard copy was turned over today, which is right there. Just prior to the meeting of the board of review to the from the assessor to confirm that all open book changes have all open book changes been made. Okay. Now we'll turn it over to the clerk's statement.
The assessment roll has been received and the clerk has reviewed and for double assessments and other apparent errors. The open book session was held on July 13th from 1 to 3, and the assessor utilized both in-person and telephonic appointments. As of today, there are no open tickets with the assessor. I will note, for the board's information, I just had a conversation with our assessor just prior to us going into session. And there is a parcel that is being reviewed that is in our TID district. As there was some valuation, questions on it, by our finance director and city administrator. So that's not reflected in this. We can make a decision to accept this tonight as it is, with the understanding that we are going to be modifying that, likely to modify the valuation of that TID, that is not represented in here, or we will have to recess or adjourn to another date to accept the roll once the correction is made. So I'd like to know from the board, what they would like to do. Actually, the assessor, do we still have to go back into session to accept it after the correction?
I believe that we do. We'll have to
Okay.
wait 15 days. So we'd be looking at the 18th would be the earliest that we can meet back up.
Okay,
And when's our next meeting?
so what I would do and what I would recommend is that we do that just prior to the August 22nd
Okay.
city council meeting, similar to what we've done when we need to adjourn, when the roll isn't available. So we can definitely plan on that, and I'll get notices out to everybody so that we can accept the roll with the correction.
So let me make sure I've got this right and see if we need any action. So our options are adjourn right now and go back on the 22nd, or accept the roll with the modification that we will have to accept an amendment on the 22nd.
We would still have to hold the 2-hour meeting tonight.
Okay. All right.
Yes. So regardless, we would have to still be in session for 2 hours tonight.
Okay.
But the two options are accept as is, or we accept later. We have to meet regardless.
Okay.
So the board would just need to make a decision on which one they would want to do. Are we going to accept tonight or wait until the 22nd to accept it with the corrections?
And do we need that in the form of a motion?
Yes.
What's your pleasure?
So
Dean.
we have to meet again anyway.
Yes.
Let's just, my preference, and I will move to wait to accept the corrected records, when we next meet.
Okay,
Second.
second. Motion by Odine, second by Downing to delay acceptance. Any discussion?
Yes, so what does that mean if we go as Alderman Odine petition to or requested to? Does that mean then that night it'll be longer discussion, or all the discussion will still be tonight, or?
Correct. Although this discussion will still be tonight. And then it would just be a review of what the valuation change would be on this particular parcel as it compares to what is currently in here. And then you would move to accept the roll.
Okay, very good.
Okay, comfortable with that?
Yep, I am.
All right. Any other discussion? All in favor of delaying accepting the roll until the 22nd meeting, signal by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. All right. Next on the agenda is the review of notice of intent to file objection. We will hear, well, we've got one objection that's been filed. I think at this point, I'd like to have Clerk White take it from here a little bit.
Right. I'm just going to back up just momentarily. Did anyone have a chance to review the roll in its electronic form, or want to take this time? The first hearing is scheduled for 4:30. To give us some time that you want to review this. There was only one parcel in contention as this stands. Otherwise, everything in it should be accurate, but I don't know if we want to take some time because we do have this opportunity to review the roll that we have. Or if you have some questions based on the electronic roll that I provided.
And we've been talking about a parcel. Are we able to know what that parcel is and know what the know what the difference is or what's going on?
Yes,
Let's have
I'll
that.
defer to the assessor.
Yeah, the parcel in question is 1777 Paulson Road. And that is in the TIF district here.
Yeah.
We currently have their assessment at about $20 a square foot, which we found to be too low for an assessment, which is why we brought that into question. And that was just brought up to us. I just found out about that this morning, unfortunately. So,
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. So you're working with staff and the parcel owner?
correct,
to-
yes.
To arrive at something that we feel is equitable, and
Correct, yes.
so I guess let me play that out just a second here so we all understand. If we arrive at a number that they don't feel is equitable, do they then have the ability, does that window stay open to file an objection?
Yeah.
Down the road?
Yes,
Is
for
that-
for
okay.
15 days.
For 15 days? Okay. All right, very good. Anybody have any other questions? Anybody want to look at the file?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so do you recommend that we just recess quickly for 15 minutes and come back in at 4:30?
Yes,
Okay.
yep, so we'll recess until the first hearing,
Okay.
at 4:30.
Okay, so right now I will put us into recess until 4:30, at which time we'll come back and hear the objection. So we stand in recess.
So
All right, we'll call the board of review back into order, and we will now proceed with the hearing of the objection. I'll turn it over to the clerk so that she can swear us in.
I'm just gonna go through a little bit of housekeeping
sorry.
before we do that. That's okay. The board, as you know, is a quasi judicial body, and the board members sit as judges to hear evidence. The board will comply with all applicable laws, and proper procedure will be adhered to ensure the complete legal record is created for today's proceedings. There is no court reporter. You're being audio recorded, and we ask that you speak into the microphone when talking, and that each person speaks one at a time, and you do not talk out of order. I will swear in the witnesses who wish to testify. The objector will present their case first into evidence through sworn oral testimony, and the assessor and the board will have the opportunity to ask questions. At that time, the assessor will be able to present their case, and the objector and the board will be able to ask questions of the assessor. Following that, the objector and the assessor will both have the opportunity to ask rebuttal questions. And finally, if necessary, brief summaries will be presented by the objector and the assessor. At that time, once all testimony has been given, the board will deliberate and make a motion. There will be a presumption for today's proceedings in that the board's deliberations, they must presume that the assessor's valuation is correct under state law. To overcome that presumption, the objector must show that the assessor's value is incorrect to the satisfaction of the board by the sworn testimony presented today. The board is bound to accept the assessor's assessment as correct unless there is competent sworn testimony not contradicted by other evidence that proves the assessment to be incorrect. The board cannot change any value fixed by the assessor except under sworn testimony produced for that purpose. All valuation changes must be justified and based on the sworn oral testimony. Supporting documenting evidence may also be considered so long as it supports the oral testimony given. With that said, the case before us today is a case of Haas Investments LLC. The property owner objector residence is actually unknown, wasn't provided in the objection form. But the address of the property in question is 1063 East Cascade, River Falls, Wisconsin, 54022. The tax key number of this property is 276-01106-0610. The property has been classified for assessment purposes as residential. The value in the assessment roll for the current year is land value of $97,500 with the improvements of $2,489,700 for a total assessment of $2,587,200. We have a signed representative authorization indicating Jerry Kuhlenberg, I apologize if I, as the authorized representative for Haas Investments. Kuhlenberg filed a request for a waiver of the Board of Review. The board has the option at this time to grant the waiver and allow the objector to commence to certain court action, or to deny the waiver and proceed with the Board of Review hearing. At the recommendation of the city attorney, I make a motion to deny the request and proceed with the hearing.
Second.
Okay, first by White, second by Downing. Any discussion? All in favor of denying the, what's the technical word again, Amy?
It's the waiver of the
Waiver,
Board
I'm
of
sorry.
Review hearing.
Request for waiver of Board of Review hearing. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, motion carries.
Kuhlenberg also filed a request for telephone testimony. I have learned it would be strictly for his testimony. We do have a representative here from Haas Investments. So at the recommendation of the city attorney again, I make a motion to deny the request for telephone testimony by the representative and proceed with the hearing.
I would second that motion.
All right, first by White, second by Downing. All in, any discussion?
Reason for denying it?
Other than the fact that we don't have a proper procedure in place for telephone testimony before the Board of Review, the board can have discussion and decide that telephone testimony is acceptable. I otherwise don't have an affirmative reason for denial. I'm just making that motion.
In the training stuff, it talks about setting a policy regarding phone or in writing sworn testimony. And it discourages using these methodologies unless a person has a medical reason or they're disabled. We set a time and place. They're expected to be able to show up. You can't cross-examine a written policy. There's certain things that when you go into the training packet, it recommends to avoid doing. This is one of them. And it's in the best interest of everyone to do so, to make sure we get things right.
Very good.
I would also comment that traditionally testimony, it's hard to swear someone in remotely. And live testimony is very helpful to, be able to fully communicate with someone and also to weigh their evidence.
Okay, any other discussion?
And most of it, what I'm talking about, has to do with the fact we're a quasi judicial body, kind of like what you're hinting at. Yep.
Very good.
All right. Any other discussion? All right. We're going to vote on that then. So we have a motion by White, seconded by Downing, to deny the request for testimony by phone. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so the telephone testimony is denied. White?
After review of the objection form, sections 4A and 4B were incomplete. There is state law that indicates by the Wisconsin Supreme Court held that as the entire objection form as authorized by statute, the board may insist on the completion of it. It was brought to my attention. Not only did I recognize it, but I know there were other board members that may have recognized it. The board can make a decision to proceed with the hearing with an incomplete objection form and ask the questions of the individual who will be giving oral testimony. The board is not actually going to be waiving this right by proceeding to the hearing. Does that make sense? Like, if we decide to proceed with the hearing, we are not waiving the requirement of having a complete objection form, but we can proceed with a hearing, absence of that.
So would we proceed and then require that they complete the form for the file, or how would that work? Before we make them, maybe I should have a motion on the floor.
Chris, I'm going to defer to the city attorney.
Yeah, so the two options for the board now would be to proceed with the hearing while knowing that it's not waiving the requirement to complete the objection form to preserve that option on a potential appeal. Or based on the incomplete objection form filed, the board could essentially deny the hearing based on the incomplete form.
Okay.
And if you deny it, does that mean it's done and it's?
That's what I understand to be. Is if we deny this, then it's all over. Okay. Before we have more discussion, let's get a motion on the floor here.
I make a motion that we deny the request for trial because of incomplete form.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion by Toland, a second by Downing to deny the request for incomplete application. Any discussion?
Yeah, I think, in general, I think people ought to be given an opportunity to state their case. And, knowing that we could allow the hearing, we're all here anyway, without waiving a right to object to some future time to the fact that it's incomplete. I think we should proceed, but that's just me. We're certainly within our rights to turn this down.
Anyone else? No?
I think substituting our own ideas on behalf of someone else is a mistake, so I would say deny.
Okay. Any other conversation? I mean, I don't want to cut this one short because this is. All right, well, hearing none, we have a motion to deny based on an incomplete application. First by Toland, second by Downing. Hearing no other discussion, we'll vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No,
Nay. All right, so we had, did you get that? Christie, did you get the 2 noes? I believe they were
I got
Mr. Carroll, Miss
and-
O'Dean.
Yes.
Okay. Is that correct, board members? Yes. Okay, all right. So the motion's denied. All right, so that takes care of that. Is there anything else that needs to come in front of this board, or this body?
Not at this time. That was the only hearing scheduled.
Okay, so at this time then, we need to stay available until 6 PM. So I will put us back into recess until, let's call it 5:57. We'll come back in and come back into session. So at this point, we stand in recess. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, okay, I'll bring the Board of Review back out of recess and open it up to see if there's any other things that should be brought before this body. Ms. White,
I have nothing.
you have nothing? Anybody else have anything? All right, and then our continuation of our next meeting,
Right, we do have to still we have to be in session until 6, so we'll just kind of hang out and.
Yep.
But the next meeting will be held on August 22nd at 6:15 in council chambers
okay? We
to
don't need a
accept
mo-
the assessment roll.
We don't, right, we'll just go into recess until then. So we have another minute, if there's anything anybody else has that they want to bring in front of the board that's related to the board. All right,
Amy, question for you real quick. Will you have some of those policies we discussed available for adaptation in the next meeting or maybe next year for?
It will be next year when we hold the board of review.
Sounds good.
We'll address those policies before we even have any hearings.
All right, thank you.
anything else? Still looks to be water and cookies and soda over there, if anybody's interested.
Excellent. Well, thank you, everyone. Have a great night.
Together. Mr. Assessor, do you have anything for us?
I do not.
All right. Just give it another minute here. I have 6 o'clock on the official timer over here, so I will put us into recess until August 22nd of 2023 at 6:15 here in the Chamber Councils, in Chamber, Council Chambers, and we'll come back out of recess at that point
So
and take action on the other things. So we are in recess.